All right, everybody, welcome back to another Appreciating Comic Book Art. Erik Larsen, the Savage Dragon miniseries, the original miniseries they kicked Image off with issues 1 through 3 and 0. Now, this was the trade paperback that I found, and since I'm having so much fun right now doing the digital thing, we're going to keep rolling on this. But first, do some house cleaning. If you like this channel, you like these videos, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, spread the word, share it, all that good stuff. And again, if you don't like the channel, subscribe anyway, like anyway, give me a thumbs down, comment on it, tell me how much you suck. I really don't care. This is all for fun, and I really enjoy it. And the guy you see on the screen right there is my character, Reaper Destroyer, who is coming out in, well, it's 2021 now, but later this year. Crowdfunding, so be on the lookout for that. All right, let's jump into this. So, where is the... All right, yeah, so this is the trade paperback like I was talking about. And let me see, we jump through here. I don't know if anybody remembers that the issues 1 through 3, I collected them when I was a kid. And yes, I did pull out all of the posters that they had in there. So a lot of them had posters in it, and I took them out and put them on my wall. But you know, I bought so many issues of this that it doesn't matter. Like I've got them all in there. I've got like so many different copies of issues 1 through 3. It's crazy. Pretty much every time I go through the dollar bin or the 50-cent bin, I find one to buy it because I collect them. I love them. This was a great period in comics. Great period for independent creators. If you get a chance, pause this, read all of this right here because it's really good. It talks about the history of the dragon and all that went into creating this book with the whole Megaton, Vanguard, all that kind of stuff. But it's a good read. If you get a chance, if you don't have this, pause it, read it. I think you'll enjoy it. We're going to jump into this, and you know, I said this before in one of my previous videos that I think this is the best era for Erik Larsen's art. Coming off of the awesome run he did on Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man, I thought something just clicked. Something changed when he got into the Savage Dragon. His work was just, I don't know, it was more detailed, it was cleaner. I mean, the action was always great. The storytelling was always really good. You know, he only kept this particular style for the miniseries. Now, he started the ongoing series, and his art changed up a little bit. It went a little bit more, I would just say, like heavy Frank Miller influence, I would say, which was awesome. It was great. Like the first, I don't know, 20 to 30 issues of Savage Dragon, I thought were spectacular art. There was something about this miniseries, and I don't know if it just has because the old school feel of the colors or what, or just like the feeling that you got because it was an Image launch book. And all the books that launched with Image, Wildcats, Cyberforce, Spawn, Youngblood, Savage Dragon, Shadowhawk, all those in the first year, there's just something special to those books. Just the way they look. So, you know, it might be a nostalgia thing for me, but I really think his art in these books are so good. Storytelling, like I said. And action-wise, he's probably right up there at the top. I mean, the way he can do action, it just seems effortlessly. Again, I would say this was the old school way of coloring it. Probably with markers, those high quality markers back in the day. Then I don't think they got into the computer coloring just yet. So and to me, I like that. There's something about that. Don't get me wrong, I love the modern day colors. As you can see with the cover that I put up of my character, some fantastic colorists out there. There's something special about the old school colors. It just added something to the book. There's a rawness, if you know what I mean. That's a funny shot of just showing how strong the dragon is. You know, this was a cool thing too about the dragon. There was a mystery about who he was, how he got his abilities. As far as first time, well, he wasn't a first time storyteller because he did write a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man, or maybe he wrote the Spider-Man title. I can't remember which one. But I would say of all of the Image creators or Image founders, that he was probably the best out of the gate storyteller, because he seemed like he had a pretty clear idea where he wanted to go. The way he paced things, the way he built up stories was really good. I think this was one of the extra pages from this trade paperback that he threw in, which I always thought was kind of cool with the trade paperbacks. The guys would go back and add a couple extra pages, almost like deleted scenes or extended scenes you would see in a DVD director's cut or something. It was always fun to see. Just, a fantastic shot, and the foreshortening that Erik Larsen could do. He's very had a lot of that like Kirby feel, especially later on in his career. I thought he leaned a lot more into like that Jack Kirby kind of blocky but distorted foreshort. I mean, just action stances, which is fine. I love Kirby. There's only one Kirby, but the stuff he was just doing. I mean, I don't know why there's a lion down there. Maybe it's just the way they scan this. Kind of takes it a little away, I would say. But the detail on this page, there's a lot going on. You got him knocking this dude around. You got the chick in the background. You got blood all over the place. As a young kid, and this was fun to see. Image was just a fun time. It was a book, a company that came out and it didn't have the comics code, so they could just do what they wanted. They wanted to put more blood in it. They wanted to put more tits and ass. They could do that. It was their own thing. And they did. It was very good fan service. They knew what the fans wanted and they gave it to us. And as a fan, you couldn't ask for anything better from an artist, creator, company, whatever. I'm going to keep on cruising here because I'm going to try to cover all three of these books and not take a ton of time. But you can just see, like, I think this is another page, and you can kind of tell too, because by the time the trade came out, he was already well into the ongoing series, and he had already changed up his art style a little bit. You can tell, like, right here how the dragon's upper body is way more bulky, and then it went to really skinny legs. That was kind of a staple of the direction he was taking with the art style, specifically with the ongoing series, issue 1 through whatever. And let me see, the original way Dragon looked, as you can kind of see, is a little bit more, a little bit more of a, there you go. So you see how his upper body isn't as large as his legs were. Like there was a little bit more proportion. And I want to say, like, I was reading an article, and when he was doing this, he always had like Bruce Willis, from the Die Hard movies in mind, for the look of the dragon. Obviously a little bit more bulked up and muscular, but this was the way I liked him drawing the dragon like this a lot more than he did in the ongoing series. Don't get me wrong, I love the art in the ongoing series. Issue 1 of the ongoing is still probably one of my favorite comic books of all time, and I did a video of that last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember when it was. Check it out because it's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. Just like I recommend this miniseries. There's a cool like Spider-Man character. Yep, there you go. There's another page that he threw in that wasn't in the original 3 books. I don't know why he did it. If he just thought that the scenes needed a little bit more. Same thing with here. You can tell because of the upper body being so huge compared to everything else. His art changed just a little between the miniseries and the ongoing series. Could be for the better, I'm not here to judge, but here's the thing I loved about what he did with his books. And it was very Jack Kirby inspired, where you have a splash page and then you have a double splash. That's awesome. I love it when they do that. It's just in your face action. It doesn't even have to really be action. It can just be really cool, really cool drawing like this. And this is, one thing I'll say about the Image is they really leaned into a little bit of the horror aspect of their book, especially like with Spawn. But before, you never really saw comic books where like kids were killed or dead and like all this stuff. And they crossed a lot of boundaries when it came to a lot of things, but for the better, I believe. It lent to a little bit more you gotta say Image was R-rated, right? You know, if Marvel and DC were like PG-13, Image really leans hard into the adult content, which was great because at that time, you know, I'm going from a kid to a teenager, and I was just consuming all of this stuff. Super Patriot was another really cool character of his. Love the look, you know, really big with armor. Or I'd say the android arms and legs is very 90s, especially with the way they drew it. Nowadays, you'd cut out all these lines here showing that it's like a metal, and they just have the colorists do something cool. But the old school way, like, you know, Cable's arms and everything from the X Force, that's just, to me, I think it's still an appealing look. Colossus from the X-Men, you know, like stuff like that. It was all just crazy scene. The bad guys are throwing everybody to distract the dragon, and he can't physically catch them all, and they're just basically splatting. And this next page coming up this is what I loved about Larsen back in the day, and I stopped reading the Savage Dragon a long time ago, so I don't know if he still does this or not, but he was always really good at doing these border breaks, these panel border breaks, and just showing the action, this continuous movement. I would say he's probably the best at doing that I've seen. Show me examples of somebody that's better, you know, and I'll take it into consideration, but I would say he's definitely one of the best ones. And I want to point something out here. Modern day colorists would probably fill all this in. They wouldn't let the white just stand. But there was something about the old school way of just letting that white make everything else pop. And if you look at this panel, if the colors in the background were like, let's say, a gray or just some kind of, you know, filler color in there, the blood and the cape would not pop as much. But that white really puts it out there. It makes it in your face, all the action coming to us. I wish that sometimes the modern colorists would just let the white ride, because I think that's something that's kind of missing in today's art. Well, not the art, but in today's colors. Right, there we go. Get back there. All right. Again, Erik Larsen is great at these splash pages, just setting a scene. Again, it doesn't have to be action. It's just a pose. It's just kind of setting things up. But he was great at the layouts. Very dynamic artist. He was one of my favorites back in the day. Not so much anymore. I mean, he's just not the same. Not that he couldn't draw the same, but he doesn't. And that's teach their own. You know, some artists grow up and they improve on what they want to do, and then some artists pull back on what they want to do. So maybe an artist back in the day, like Erik Larsen, used to do a lot of detail, and he's like, "Hey, I got deadlines. I got to pump books out. I got to do all this stuff, and I don't have the time to fit in all these tiny details anymore." So you pull back, you pull back, you pull back, and you get less and less detail. A lot of artists do that the older they get. I prefer guys that go in the other direction, but that's just me personally. So not taking a shot at his art currently or anything, but there's just, if you were to hold up his stuff now compared to the back in the day when he was doing this, it's no contest. There's another page that was added. I think both these pages were added. Well, maybe the other one just for the trade. Here we go again. Splash page, double splash. Man, I don't know why it is. The one with Arachnid or whatever that character's name was the only one that didn't have this stupid scan white line in there. And usually Comixology is pretty good at scanning this stuff. So I don't know what the issue is, but again, just great layout, great action. Love the lighting. That was one thing I really about this series. I love just the way that Erik could use blacks to really make everything pop. You know, I mean, I guess you can kind of see right here his upper body again starting to get a little bit bulkier. He was starting to go in that direction that he would eventually go in with the ongoing series. Overlord, I also thought was a really cool character. You know, Erik had a lot of characters. I mean, I don't know how many characters he created for this book. A lot of them were just like toss away, throw away characters they would introduce and kill. It kind of brought an interesting realism to his book. His characters would die and they wouldn't come back for the most part. The Overlord had that, like, kind of like a Doctor Doom feel without being like a rip off. This was something I never actually liked about Erik's panels or his page designs, the grid. And he got a lot more of that later on in his career, which sometimes it can work. Like here it can work. You got a scene, you got a lot of dialogue, I get it. But when that becomes a crutch, when you're relying on it all the time, it takes away the energy. You want to have bigger panels. You want to have your anchor panel and other stuff that really adds some dynamic to the page. Again, there you go. Great double page shot. Again, stupid white bar from the scan kind of takes away from it a little bit. But bringing in Badrock, who was still Bedrock at the time, before Rob Liefeld had to change the name. But, one thing, too, about the early Image books, they used to cross over with each other all the time. It really gave that sense of unity, of shared universe that I loved about the Image books. And they kind of got away from that. The later on they went, the studios, had a little bit more studio identity, and people weren't playing in each other's playgrounds as much as they used to. But ending this miniseries here with this, pretty much the entire comic is this fight, this badass fight with Bedrock / Badrock, and they just kind of go toe to toe, which is kind of cool because anybody that followed Youngblood, there's a shot of Spawn, throwing that in there too, because I think there was actually a page in Spawn that was almost identical to that, so I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, everybody knew how badass Badrock was, how strong he was, and invincible and all that kind of stuff. So to see Erik's character, the dragon, go up against one of Rob's characters like this, it gave some validity to the dragon's strengths, to how powerful of a character he really was. And he never really crossed too much into other people's books. I mean, he did from time to time, but nothing major. There's one thing I thought was, oh, it's an awesome shot. Look at that. That is some Kirby-esque bending and power right there. Love it. But that's something I wish that Image had done. I wish they had done more company-wide crossovers, bringing a lot of these characters together, because there are a lot of these original characters that never even met each other that I thought would have been really cool. I think they dropped the ball on that. It would have been really awesome to see that. And here we are. Yeah, these are added pages. Again, you can just see how much the art kind of changed between, or how his style changed between the time he added these pages in. And we're about ready to wrap up the end of the mini, get through this here. I think these were added pages too. This wasn't part of the original miniseries, I don't believe. Yeah, I think this is actually 0. I think we're into 0 now. And this would really set the tone of the book going forward with the, here we go, shocking murder of his girlfriend. Just shot in the head. Just, I mean, brutal. And Erik would keep on getting more and more brutal, more and more violent, more and more sexualized as the book went. But you can tell, like, the tone of the colors, and he was really setting this book in a different direction, to where you would see issue 1 of the ongoing series has a completely darker feel, almost like that Sin City kind of feel, if you know what I'm talking about. Very, like I said before, Frank Miller kind of influenced. And like, look at the heavy inks down here. The splatter was really leaning hard into that, but it looks great. Badoom! But yeah, I never actually had the actual issue 0. I still to this day I've never found it. This is the only time I've been able to read it. It was in the trade. Again, I'm talking about like the use of the blacks to really make things pop. How his fin just fade, just really sets a tone. He was great at it. I think that's maybe one of the things I don't like about his art nowadays. I flip through every once in a while. I'll pick up an issue just to see how it's looking. And he really pulled back on the black. It's very bright. It's very like poppy. where there is so much mood in these books. There's some pinups too. Here's all the pinups that were originally in the books, and all these at some some covers too as a pinup. All those at some point found them way on my wall, on my bedroom wall as a kid. It was a covered issue 2. Yeah, I had that pinup on my wall for years. That was a covered issue 3. Oh yeah. So if you get a chance to actually see this either digitally online or you get a chance to actually pick up the physical copy of this trade, it's got an awesome section of sketches, character sketches and designs and stuff. You get to really get a look into his brain with characters like Vanguard, some that didn't actually appear in this book but appeared later in the series. Original designs for certain characters, page layouts, panel layouts. It's always kind of cool to see stuff like that, to see the artist as he is creating. I always loved it when they put those things in the books. It almost feels naked if they don't have stuff like that in a trade, honestly. Some original Mighty Man designs, original Overlord designs. Deadly Duo, that was kind of an interesting book. Original Star design. I gotta say, I liked it a lot better without the hair. Yeah, so I mean, just Cutthroat was also a really cool character. I always thought they could have done a little bit more with him. The Fiend. Oh man, I forgot about the Fiend. That was a fun character. Erik had a lot of really fun characters in this book. A lot of them, like I said, just kind of existed to kill, but like he had some cool villains. He had some fun stories, cool heroes, supporting cast. Yeah. So here we go. We'll cruise to this. But yeah, I highly recommend this. If you were a fan of 90s art, you're a fan of Erik Larsen, and generally fan of the Savage Dragon. Find this, check it out, because there's a lot of goodies in here. A lot of things to keep you entertained. Going back some more pinups and covers. I think we're, oh, that's, let me go back here. That is an awesome scene. Mood setter right there. I mean, not a lot of color, heavy on the blacks, giving you that depressed, sad tone. The leaves flying, you know, the branches on the tree. I mean, just very good mood setter. I've always loved stuff like that. The tombstones, that's awesome. I think that was the back. Yep, there we go. That's the end. So anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend this if you get a chance to find this, or if you have it, pull it out, read it again. Oh shit, forgot to do that. Yeah, next time. Next time we'll do the full screen. My bad. Again, I'm kind of new to the whole digital thing. Next time we'll do the full screen. So I'm sorry that you had to see this at letterbox screen size or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, check this out. 23 minutes. Gotta close this video. All right. If you like this video, if you like this channel, give me a subscribe, hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications. Check out my other channel, Ott and Stuff, where we do a show every Friday at 8:30, where we talk to guys like Dan Fraga, John Malin, Brett Booth, Billy Tucci, Rob Michaels, Rob Willis, all those guys we have on. It's a fun time. We talk about art. We talk about the industry. And if you get a chance, keep in mind my book's coming out later this year called Reaper Destroyer. There's a quick shot, quick plug, and I will talk to you all later. Appreciate it. Comic book art, Erik Larsen, Savage Dragon 1-3 + 0. Appreciate it.